Hey guys, Tina here and welcome to another wrap-up video. Today I will talk about the three books that I recently read, and the first of those is a romance novel, and it's the third in the Castles Ever After series by Tessa Dare, and it's called When a Scot Ties a Knot. And I have to say this one was my least favorite out of the three, and it takes place in Scotland. We meet our heroine called Madeline, and she is quite shy and a bit anxious, I think, and she is all into animals, all sorts of animals, and she's dedicated to sketching them actually. And the thing is, her problem arises when a Scot appears on her doors and demands basically that she marries him. And the thing is, years back, as a young lady, when she was supposed to be looking out for her husband, she sort of made up this fiance because, well, she didn't want to face the public and be paraded around in search of a husband. So she made up this Scot who was in the army and fighting Napoleon probably. And she wrote him letters to the battlefield, to the front, and he would reply back, and everybody fell for that. And now apparently he showed up and he demands that she marries him. And that is how her problem arises, how the story starts off. And all in all, it was an okay book, but definitely my least favorite out of the three that I read in this series. And I'm not sure if the series is done or there could potentially be more. But the heroine was as quirky as they usually are in these books. And as I said, she's anxious and very shy, and she likes sketching, and she wants to make a career out of that. And she also, as is the case in the series, she inherited a castle and she wants to live there and just be left in peace. But that is not to be the case. A lot of the humorous scenes actually were caused by her love for animals. There's these couple of lobsters that she's waiting to mate and things like that, and she wants to draw them, and a lot of hilarious things come out of those scenes. The hero is sort of an asshole in my opinion. I didn't care for him at all. He basically was blackmailing her into marrying him, saying that he would expose her, because clearly she lied about having a fiance, and it would not go well for her if those letters, got into the society, and she would be shunned and mocked, and she doesn't want any of that. He is, as I said, blackmailing her, and yes, his intentions are sort of good. He has a whole group of men with him, his fellow Scots that fought in the war, and now are trying to rebuild their lives, and there's a lot of damage there, PTSD and things like that, and he wants to provide them with a home, and he figures out that this castle will do just fine. And he's also very there's a lot of prejudice when it comes to her in his mind, because he sees her as this just very spoiled, bratty society English woman that, and he's mad at the English for using the Scots and things like that. So there's a lot of prejudices there, and he treats her really badly at the beginning. But all in all, this is a romance novel, so you can imagine that things get better, but also worse in between. So yeah, I don't know, it was good. Definitely not my favorite out of the series, but to each his own, I guess, because I think that it's quite popular still. So, whatever. Then I read or listened to The Kind Deep by Adrienne Young, which is a very popular young adult novel. In recent months, it was pretty popular, I think, at least. This is sort of a historical YA book, and it deals with a Viking type of setting. And we meet Aska, and she is a warrior for her clan, and when we meet her, she's in the middle of a battle with their greatest enemy, basically, this other clan that they fight once a year or so. It's like a tradition, basically, I don't think they even need a new reason for them to fight each year. It's just tradition, and, there comes a date and you have to go to the battlefield, basically. It's sort of like that, I think. And as they are fighting, she sees her dead brother, fighting for the other side, and that confuses her, of course, and she's baffled what's going on, and she gets captured, and she comes along with her brother and the people that he has come to call family to the camp of the other this other tribe clan, and yeah, that's basically how the story starts off. And as we follow along, she she goes through the whole process of being angry and confused to sort of trying to understand his position and all that. So of course we go through those layers, and again, this is a book that shows us how, by focusing on the differences, the things that separate us, we cause a lot of damage, because usually we do have a lot more in common than not. And if we focus on what we have in common, things might not be so bad, and we would not have to fight every year for no reason at all, like in the book. And there is actually this pressing issue whether or not these two clans can come together and forge a new future for their people. All in all, I think it's a good young adult book. It was not, I didn't impress me that much, simply because I don't know why. I'm just, lately nothing impresses me, basically. uh, but I think it's just that I am sort of fed up with YA, even though I do read it, because sometimes they're just easier to read and all. But for somebody who's new to the genre, I think this is a good book. And even if if you're not new to the genre, the setting is very interesting, and this clansman type of lifestyle and historical elements, some of that is definitely probably has been researched, and there's information that is interesting. So all in all, I did like it. Not my favorite, but I did like it, and I do recommend it. And the third book that I'm going to talk about is actually A Court of Frost and Starlight. I finally read it. So this is the unnecessary novella that follows A Court of Wings and Ruin, and is going to be followed with another book in the series. And in this one, we basically, it doesn't actually do much to the story, all in all, but I think it does establish some problems that are going to probably be solved in the future books. This is basically I don't know how long after the great battle that we read about in the ACOWAR. And there's a lot of damage that has been done to these characters, to the world itself, and I think that in the future books we will probably see how the world gets rebuilt, and how these people survive the consequences of the what they went through. Basically, we learn a lot about how they're dealing with stuff, and we all know that these characters are very damaged, some even not just from this incident that that happened in ACOWAR, but also things prior to that, and they have a lot of work to do. As what happens in this book, nothing. Basically, they're celebrating the winter solstice, and they get it together, and it's just about their relationships, and what I just said, basically the issues that each one of them is facing. And is it a necessary installment? No. Will I continue on with the series? Honestly, I don't know. Right now, I am done with these characters. I don't care about Feyre and Rhys at all anymore. I think that their story is concluded, so I, just, in my opinion, just let them be. I don't care for the sisters, for Feyre's sisters, all that much, so I'm not sure how interested I will be in their stories. But, when the time comes to actually buy the next book, I will probably do it, because I don't know why. But you know, it will definitely sound interesting and I will just cave in and get it. So that's basically how it usually is. But yeah, you know, this is an okay read, not my favorite. You can basically, I think, just skip it and you're gonna be fine. But, you know, as a sort of perfectionist, I do have to have the whole series, obviously. So that's why we have it, and we're not gonna be getting rid of it, at least not anytime soon. But yeah, all in all, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments if you have read any of these books and how you felt about them. And until next time, bye.